May I introduce, first of all, to you, Jane Flood from Family Friendly HQ, who's going to be moderating the panel, and then she'll proceed to introduce and call up everyone else on the panel. Jane Flood is the co-founder and co-editor of familyfriendlyhq.ie, an Irish family lifestyle website with information for parents, things to do, daily blogs, reviews, and expert family advice. Jane is married to the lovely Cormac, whom I haven't met yet, but you know, when you say that, and is mum to 3 crazy and energetic kids, Christopher, Samuel, and Harry. Family Friendly HQ was founded in 2014 as a tool to communicate with real Irish parents on a daily basis by way of articles and blogs, recipes, reviews, and competitions. It's a place where parents, especially mums, can stop by and read our cool and highly relevant content about parenting today, gain tips and advice, and use the site to research where to take the family for a day out or breakaway. Jane founded Family Friendly HQ with fellow Irish mum and female entrepreneur Olivia Cannon. The site receives over 400,000 Irish parenting visitors a month, not bad for a population of 4.5 million people. In addition to co-running Family Friendly HQ, Jane is a contributor to several Irish newspapers and magazines in the area of parenting and gives regular radio interviews on various topics relating to parenting life in Ireland today. Can we put our hands together to welcome Jane?
Thank you, Chitra. So I'm delighted to welcome a panel of 4 speakers here this afternoon, and they'll be having a discussion about their experiences as an entrepreneur. So first we have Rainer Jenss. Rainer brings a wealth of experience and expertise as president and founder of the Family Travel Association. Before putting his professional experience and personal passion to the ultimate test by travelling around the world for a year with his wife and 2 children, I'm very jealous of that, in 2009, Rainer Jenss was vice president and 13-year veteran of the National Geographic Society. Prior to National Geographic, Rainer worked for CNN International and Business Travel International. By creating the Family Travel Association, Jenss aims to establish a collective and unified industry voice that will help change the way families travel. Rainer reported for the National Geographic Travellers award-winning intelligent travel blog, founded Smart Family Travel Inc. and directed a new family travel initiative and content development for the Smart Family Travel feature in Parent and Child magazine. Most recently, he recently became a family travel correspondent and curator for afar.com and leads a contributing writers programme on the experiential travel site glamping.com. You're very welcome. Next we have Nora Kurtin. Nora is an award social entrepreneur passionate on helping families connect. With more than 25 years of experience in management, marketing and strategy areas, working at multinational corporations and CEO of her company, and I will get this wrong, Sapos y Princesas, which means toads and princesses. So while raising her kids, she became aware of the impact of fun and educational activities on family dynamics. So in 2005, she founded Sapos y Princesas in Spain with the firm idea that the world would be a better place if parents could create unforgettable memories in their kids' childhood. The company is a media company with a core focus on parenting information from renowned institutions and hand-picked activities for each family style. The content is specifically developed to enhance families' interest in culture, nature and physical fitness. Today, it is the #1 media company in the parenting market in Spain, reaching more than 1 million parents through a distribution of over 150,000 national monthly printed magazines, website, digital magazine, mobile app, social media and local events that tie family engaging activities with brands. In 2012, with the objective of extending the concept to the English market, Nora moved with her family to the United States in order to launch Commons. She believes that developing strong relationships between parents and children is essential to growing smarter, stronger and kinder children to nurture a healthy society. Welcome, Nora. Our third panellist is Olivia Strigari. Olivia is a single mum to Daphne, who's 7 years old. Olivia grew up between France and Italy as a European citizen and had always wanted to be a journalist. After a few years as a reporter in Italy, she was hired to create an Italian edition of the French luxury travel magazine Hotel and Lodge in 2004. She started as deputy editor-in-chief and then manages all editions from 2006. In 2013, after some consulting from different companies, she joins Havas as communication manager to rebuild all digital experience and PR for its advertising agency. Havas 360. In February 2016, she is chosen by Marie Claire Group to drive its parenting branch, such as Family and MagicMama.com, into a strong entity with print, web and digital marketing under a unique brand, Magic Maman. ACPM, one global leader media in France for parenting, Magic Maman is now read by more than 4 million people connected every month and 1.5 million of Facebook fans. She is deeply committed to support and inform digital mums and to kids' education. And welcome, Olivia. And the final member of our panel doesn't need any introduction. It's Paul, who we had the pleasure of hearing from earlier. So welcome, Paul. Yeah, I'm going to take over here. Okay, so I think we'll kick off with talking about a bit of work-life balance, or blend, as they like to call it these days. So I suppose you said earlier there, Paul, that it's difficult creating a business and growing a business and creating a family and growing a family, and trying to do that at the same time can be difficult, as you'll all know. How do you manage to achieve a work-life balance? And is there anything that you do in your work life or your home lives that helps this? Olivia, do you want to?
It's not only about myself. It's also about all the moms who wants to get a business. I think it's also the relation we have with work and the fact we are a mom, for example. I mean, I'm speaking for moms, sorry for dads. But moms has usually 3 problems to face. The first one is to feel guilty, because since they are mom, they feel guilty to abandon their family, to work. The second one is time, because time is 24 hours per day, no more, but when you have to split it with several children and work and maybe a husband also, you don't have so much time at the end of the day. And the third one, it's this feeling also, we face it now. Within few years, I think everybody is speaking about it, it's perfection. It's nightmare for women. And I must say, for every problem there is some solutions. And the first one, it's for guiltiness. Think that I'm a little feminist. I'm from a group, we are feminist. I'm sorry, a good feminist. We are thinking that to achieve themselves, women has also to work sometimes, and it's nothing bad about it, but it's all good. And it's an example for our daughters and also also the boys. It's a good thing because a woman achieves herself not only about motherhood, sometimes she does, but that time it's not enough. And she wants to do something else, and it's not a problem. Today we are lucky in our world, we can do both. The second thing, it's when you have a husband, to use like a partner also, because he can help. And when you have the problem of time, instead of quantity, give quality. Because I think quality, it's just child wants from you, And then also from this perfection we always want, I think sometimes it's good to let things go as they have. Sometimes you think you cannot achieve everything, and you have to choose. Some everyday life, it's choose what is good for you that day. Sometimes also when you have to choose. The options change every day, because one day the business is more important and the other day the family is more important. From this also, the thing is, when you are working, your work takes a big part in your life also, and sometimes you forget the family, you know. But it's not bad. I mean, you are building yourself, and you are building also something good also for your children. Because when you speak about example, it's not only to be an example, it's also to show them how work can be good for you and how work can be good for them also. When they will be big, it's good for them to achieve something for themselves also. And if they have a bad example of a mother who comes back at home and said, "Oh, I'm tired, I have to work, too much work," or
something that you can connect with other families that have things in common with you. It was a great challenge. It was a failure, but at the same time, it was an opportunity to do something new, something different. And I mean, it takes a lot of effort to stand up again and to say, okay, you know, I fail. But that's fine. I mean, it's normal. And as a toddler would say, you have to stand up again and try it again. It's like learning how to walk. And then you learn how to run. But first you have to take those first steps and know that you're going to fail in many different areas. And that's fine. We are allowed to fail, and that's not bad.
It's not bad, how we learn. Paul, given the success of Ella's Kitchen, did you find when you started Paddy's Bathroom that there was an expectation there that it should be a success? Did that put more pressure on you?
Yes, a little bit, and perhaps more inside of my own head than other people's expectation of me. And, you know, my biggest failures have been with Paddy's, really, in terms of assumptions that we made. You know, I'd hate to think we crossed the line between confident and arrogant, but we assumed some things about what the consumer actually wanted and why certain packaging would work or wouldn't work. And we launched Paddy's into the US market first, before in our home market in the UK. And, you know, quickly realized actually it's 5,000 miles away. We don't have people on the ground. The consumer expectation was slightly different through different culture, and bitten off more than we could chew. And we had to make a decision about that point. Do you fail fast and say, okay, that was a mistake, let's come out of the market, let's go back and make all of our mistakes in a home market where we can react quicker and then go back, or do we plough on? And we, you know, admitted to ourselves we've made a mistake, let's learn from that. And what we did from that point onwards was really take the whole proposition for Paddy's Bathroom down to its very basic parts. We talked to consumers a whole lot, and we changed the packaging, the formulations, the price point, the brand look and feel, and we did this amazing work with a university and a research group to align on the two words that Paddy's is around, which is about playful and gentle. And every single touch point anyone would ever touch our brand about were those the first two words that came to mind. So the texture of the packaging, the smell of the product, the name of the product, the words we use to describe it in our marketing, the angles, everything. And all of that came through, and that is working much better now. So, you know, I'll blend this answer with the question about what I've learned, and the thing that I've learned most is that business isn't about money, as people assume when they go into it. The money flows. It's about people, and it's about motivating people either to invest in you and give you money, which isn't just on a business plan. It's on you, the management team, and your ambition, the reason you're in there. And for people to work from you and to people to buy from you. And if you get that right, then the money flows. And because it's about people, we're human beings. We make mistakes. We're expected to we should be making mistakes. We're emotional as well as logical, and that should play a part in it as well. And the idea that when we're at work, we're a different person to the person we are, you know, with our parents or as parents or with our friends in the pub or whatever it is, we should be the same person throughout that thing, and we should be you know, honest about that. And, but making mistakes is part of being human, and it's sort of how you react to them, learn from them, and fail fast. But giving permission within a culture of an organisation to make mistakes is I think, really, really important. Even if it's just the idea that someone gets the confidence to put their hand up in a meeting and say, why are we having this at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning? And that's you know, that's the point of that.
Chitra spoke earlier, and she said that she brought the baby along, and the baby born, and she was trying to sell a vision with nothing built. So she was bringing her plans and her dreams, and sometimes people don't see it the way you do. Can any of you identify with that when you were starting your business?
Before starting Sapos y Princesas, in Spain there was not a media company targeted to leisure time for parents. So what I found is that parents, like myself, will come to Monday at work and say, thank God it's Monday. I couldn't hold it anymore. I was like, what? I'm like, yes, I didn't know what to do with my kids. I mean, come on, it's a nightmare. I don't know what to do with them anymore. So I'm like, okay, fine. So I realized that there was a need in the market, something that parents didn't know what to do with their kids. And I said, well, Madrid has a lot of things for parents, but they're not all together. They're not in one place where you can find them all in a way that is easy for you to decide, just looking at them, what you will want to do, depending on the age of your kids, if you have a kid with disabilities, if you have, different age group in your family. So I have to help there. I have to do something for these parents so they can really enjoy their time with their kids. Because we only have 12 years of their lifetime to do something with them and really transmit our values and what we really like and show them what's the opportunities out there. So I decided to launch this media company. It was a magazine, a small magazine, so it will fit in the backpack and you can carry it around with your agenda. And so I went and tapped into 30 people that I thought they were leaders in their market because they work in a media company, they were in agencies, many people that I thought they were opinion leaders. So I went and did my pitch. So this is what I want, this is the need I found, and I think it's going to be great, parents are going to use it. Only 3 people out of 30 told me that it would work. Only 3. This was 12 years ago. Why? And they had good reasons about it. The market was saturated. The media company was falling. Printed was being replaced by internet. Many reasons that were true. But I was so sure that parents needed it, that they were looking for it, that it would help society as a whole to really connect with their kids, that I said I should give it a try. And it was good that I had the support of my husband, and I really was, blind enough to say, okay, I'll go for it, why not? And I think that that sometimes you have to really be passionate about what you do and take the advice of people that might know, but really try to filter it, because not everybody understands the product. Like it was said before, before you see it, you have it in your hand. When it's an idea, it's hard to transmit it. And some people just don't see it the same way you do. So,
yeah, great. Rainer, will you push back at all?
Well, I will say this. My wife had a situation where she worked from home, and she was an executive vice president at an ad agency, and she was one of the few women that was able to do that. And I did not appreciate that for a long time until we got back from our around the world travels, when I started working from home and had a home office. And for those of you that do that, that is a whole challenge in and of itself. Whether you have kids, a dog, or other responsibilities around the house. So that, to me, was my biggest adjustment. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs who are just getting started and being resourceful, will not take out and lease, fancy Manhattan Midtown office space, and you kind of grind it out from home for a few years, and that's a whole adjustment in and of itself. The temptation to do other things, and so I would say that's been the bigger. But to your point, the kids who were older would come home from school and they'd see me working, and I'd think, like, I better show them I know what I'm doing. If I'm sitting watching TV when they get home, I'd be in big trouble. So it's a really interesting adjustment.
And everyone we've heard from this morning actually interestingly started their businesses after they had a family. Do you think that maybe there's something in that maybe there's that extra drive, there's a mortgage to pay, there's mouths to feed, that make, entrepreneurs a success once they have a family?
No, there is.
I'll just say this real quick. I started this business because of my family. We went on that trip.
And actually a lot of people
And
did,
so I joke with my boys. I'm like, this is your fault, guys. You're responsible for this. So anyway, I just...
Yeah, we made the studies a few months ago, interviewing 3,000 mothers, and quite 70% of them think to change their hours, their habits for working, like working time, habits. Mostly in France, they ask for part-time job. Yeah. And a big part of them also start to be entrepreneur and start to grow their own business because they're at home. And most of the time also women who were not working till then. Because, I don't know, there is something new in their life, and it's not only about the baby, it's something they want to give also maybe at the baby, and something which has to deal with the baby. So this is all family jobs, yeah. And it's quite typical.
Yeah, I think, I never think anyone sets out to be an entrepreneur. I think you have an idea and you think, I'm going to go for it or I'm not going to go for it. People who are 20 and say, I'm going to be an entrepreneur when I'm 30 or whatever, that's just not the way to go about it. And, everyone in this room is here because we've got an interest in family and because we have family, and that's where the passion comes from ideas that we've had. And I'm sure everyone's got a different story, but we will be questioning why something is so, whether it's taking families on travel or feeding our kids or whatever it is about introducing them to the new world. And we'll have seen something and thought that can be done differently. I think, toddlers are famous for saying why all the time. What I really think they mean is why not? And why not addresses the impossible. And that's what sort of, as we're going through with trying to bring our kids up, and you think, well, is the impossible really impossible? And again, my point of view would be look at the child's point of view, and they can do things that otherwise seemingly would be impossible. So I think that idea of asking why not is one of the stubborn things that many of us in this room may have done as we've been juggling the blend of an idea, wanting to see an idea go through, and the day-to-day reality of having small children around.
You spoke about Americans taking their holidays, but what is it like just in your different countries? How important is that family unit, and how do employers and the workplace respect the family unit? Do you want to speak about the UK first?
So we're in 40 different countries around the world, and my basic premise is people around the world are more the same than they're different. From a baby development point of view, they'll grow their teeth and they'll get a pincer grip and everything at the same time. Obviously, there's cultural differences, but fundamentally, if it works somewhere, it should work somewhere else, your business proposition, if it's around people. But, for example, the Scandinavian countries where we are, they have much, the world's best maternity and paternity policies. So what that means is that for our business, often it is mum or dad that is buying our products when the baby is 9 months old, whereas in another country, in the US for example, where mums go back to work much earlier and there isn't paternity pay, then it's somebody else that may be buying the product. So that's a different marketing mentality that we've got to have. In Scandinavia as well, kids go to school much later, and they don't have the concept of a lunchbox. It's hot meals there. So they're differences that I have spotted.
Okay. Olivia?
In Spain, family is something important.
Really important, yeah.
And many things go around families. So it's very common to see, like if you have a holiday, everybody going together on vacation or traveling together to somewhere, or doing things together. It's something that it comes natural. You gather around, like on Sunday, to have the main meal with your family, grandparents, everybody gather around families. So it's something that is in the culture. And for parents, it's something that you are used to. I was very shocked because when I lived in the States before, I didn't have kids. When I went there, back now, is that I see it is more challenging because parents do not have the same vacations that kids do. And even kids do not have the same holidays depending on the school they go to. So, and if you have kids that are going to university, while you have kids that are in elementary or middle school, or even high school, they may have 4 different days that their holidays are. So I think it's a completely different type of approach to family time. And it's more challenging for these cultures that is not in their core, I would say, in their tradition, to have this time together. So, like for example, a study from Harvard University, one of our partners, the Family Project, was saying that it's so important to have at least 5 meals per week with your kids. 5 meals per week. I'm not saying 5 dinners or 5 breakfasts, 5 meals. I mean, for our culture in Spain, it's, you know, you do it every day, 2 at least. Because it really, you know, helps kids develop their self-esteem. There's less bullying, less teenage pregnancies, there's less school dropouts when you spend that time with your kids. So I think that we give a lot of things for granted. We take a lot of things for granted here in Europe, and it's a privilege that we have, that we can spend more time with our families, and we should not forget that. And we should try to embrace that, because we're not only spending time with them, we're giving them a lot of things that they need to build their own personality. So it's very important that we focus into that, we put our phones aside, and we really try to connect with the person that is sitting next to us, to listen to what they have to say, understand their problem, not minimize their problem because it varies depending on the age, and to really try to understand that we are there for them, to help them become, you know, good person, good grown-ups. And it's a challenge. So I think that here we have a lot of advantages, and that we should take them, because it's a great opportunity to be raising our kids.
You know, I like what Paul said about we're more the same than we are different. I think there is certainly one universal truth to parenting, and that is that every parent wants what's good for their child, right? I don't think that could be argued in any country or anywhere around the world. But what is different are cultural differences. And again, it's a broad generalization, of course, because literally millions of American families are traveling far and wide, and you'll see them here in Portugal and everywhere around the world, just as much as you see Germans. But anyway, there is something, however, culturally different, again, on a very broad level, among Americans and the value they place on traveling with their children. And that's one of the reasons, one of the primary reasons we launched this association, was to do whatever we can to start changing that attitude. And that's not just, by the way, in the United States, it's also in Australia. We have members of the association from down under, and they have told me, Reiner, we have the same thing. There are a lot of Australians, so it's not just a US issue, there are other parts of the world. So I think the outlook, however, is good for 2 reasons. One of the main engines of growth in the United States in terms of family travel is multi-generational travel. The grandparents who are becoming, you know, larger and larger in numbers in the US are driving a lot of family travel. And I think, you know, younger children in particular are the beneficiaries. Millennials have certainly expressed the desire to have more experiential travel. You know, they're growing up in an age where the world is much more accessible. So I think you'll see this shift. I'm hopeful and optimistic that you'll see a shift in the US and other parts of the world. And then this hotel and others are going to be full, and you don't know what to do with all the families traveling. But, you know, but there's work to be done. And I think the biggest effort that we're focused on is just creating awareness. What's out there? There are terrific journalists and writers and bloggers in this room and outside who do a wonderful job inspiring families. We got to keep that up, and you know, get more and more people realizing that, you know, Disney is not the only place to go with your children. That and that's no offense to our friends in Orlando, but you know, there are just terrific opportunities. And you know, I've been in this business now for quite a while, and I'm learning new things every day. So just when you think you know everything and you've seen it all, you're mistaken. There's wonderful things. I look forward to learning more about those.
We live in a very judgmental world today, and I think the internet has made that all the more obvious. People can be very quick to judge, and social media now facilitates this. Have any of you ever found yourselves as a parent or in business where you found yourself being judged publicly?
We are facing it every day. We have a big fan community on Facebook, and now it's easy for everybody to judge. And the thing is, motherhood, when you have mother, you are between superpower and between super weak. You know, you feel weak because you are tired, because many things. So women are very going like this, you know, everybody knows it. And it's a strange thing to me, but our mother community is very strong and very quick to attack, okay? And they judged everything. I think it's not only about mother or parenting, I think it's the world also, because we had these new medias, like social medias, who allows everybody and anybody to speak for itself. So, and it's something that you have to smooth every day. We do it, we said in French, temporiser, and to calm everybody's judgment. But it's something which has to do with a human, being. So it's complicated. As you said with your speech this morning, it's to be honest, to be true. It's the first step, not to be judged or to face judgment, I think this is a big issue about it.
Anyone else? They've been judged publicly?
Yeah, I think social media, when you've got a brand and you're a person as well, and people from a distance can say whatever they like about you, and it's out there, you've got to be quite careful how you respond to that. And one of the challenges, I see this with my own teenage children, is if they're forming their major relationships online in some sort of format, it does two things that are different to having a face-to-face conversation. One, it's much easier to talk than to listen. So I can talk, here's my lunch, here's my breakfast, here's my friend, here's myself, and it's just about me. And nobody needs to listen, but you're not listening to anybody. Yet when you have a conversation, you listen, and it's only by listening that you learn things. And the second thing is that, we're all in these silos, so you think you know what the common thing is. Brexit's a fantastic example of that, unfortunately, is that a whole load of people who agreed with it would talk together and think everyone agrees with it, and a whole load of people disagree with it, and they'll be talking together and think it, and lots of people never talk to each other. So judgments are easier to be given. Opinions are easy to be given in a world of social media when you're not face-to-face with somebody, and you can hide behind the anonymity of it. But also, it means that people aren't necessarily listening, they're just talking, and that's not a good thing.
I would say that social media is a new channel. I mean, the whole technology just came and staying. It's a new way. Our generation, we are adopters. Our kids' generation, they are natives. So for them, it's part of their essence. I think that we see social media in a completely different perspective that they do. And I think it's very challenging for parents to really understand what our kids are doing, or they might be doing, or how they position themselves in social media. So to talk more in that perspective than a brand perspective, I'd say that as parents, we have to be very clear that we have to educate our kids like we do in other areas. Like we don't let them do certain things, and we should teach them there too, because we might not see them, but they're doing things that we might not be too proud of. And if they understand the perspective of it, they wouldn't be proud of neither. Because it's true, it's much easier to get behind a screen and say certain things that you wouldn't have the bravery to say face to face. So I think we should try to decode continuously with our kids what they're getting through social media. that a like is not a friend, that a person that shares something that you posted doesn't admire you for what you have done, that is not real communication, really friendship. So it's very hard. Girls and boys have a different relationship with social media, and we have to be very conscious about it. Girls are having a very tough issue about their self-image because of social media, and boys are getting overstimulated with aggression. So we should, I don't want to worry everybody about it, but I think we should talk to our kids about it. Not prohibit, because it's like trying to stop, the sea. But we should understand what the codes are. And we should try to, I always tell my kids, so what would you think if I read it, or your mother's friend read it? What do you think they will think about it? What about that picture that you posted? If I'm looking for someone to work in my company and I see that picture, do you think I will hire them for that? So I try to put them in a different perspective so they understand that everything they do online, it's there. Snapchat, well, that's why it works so well. It deletes it by itself. But still, you're having an impact in someone that can be reading that, and you should be careful. And if you really care about someone, you should be even more careful. So I think that this is a new area for us as parents, and we should try to really understand what things are going on and try to educate our kids in how to manage them correctly. So.
Great, thank you. And I think our time is up. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon.